Containerizing our application involves several steps. Initially, we have to create a Docker file in the root directory. This Docker file involves the base image, that is node 21. We are switching to working directory app. We are copying all the package and package log.json files to the container. Then we are installing all the dependencies. Then we are copying everything to the container, all the files to the container. We are exposing port 3000 for usage. We are starting our application with command npm start. For local test, I have also written the docker compose file. This file involves two services, database and application. The database is configured with environment variables for database credentials. The application runs on port 3000. It depends on DB. The application starts only when the database is ready. The start command is to docker compose app build. This command creates an image for our application. The image is successfully created and the application is ready on port 3000. As we can see, the application is running from the container. In the Docker, two images are created, Todo-app and Postgres, which is containerized as Todo-app. I have configured GitHub actions for testing and deployment. The deployment gets triggered when there is a change in file. The CI/CD pipeline gets triggered. For example, I am committing a change. Committing involves unit tests, which are developed by Husky. The unit test is successfully completed. Now we can push the changes. Once the changes are updated, the Git triggers the actions workflow. You can see here a GitHub action workflow is triggered. This action is configured with cicd.yml file. Initially, we are setting a base image with Ubuntu. We are using service Postgres. The first step is to check out the code and installing the node 21. We are setting up Azure credentials, which are configured with GitHub secrets. Once the node is ready, we are installing all the dependencies. Once the dependencies are installed, we are running unit test and integration test. As we can see, unit tests have been passed, and it creates a coverage report also. We are starting the application and the integration test is started. The integration test is successfully passed. We are setting up Docker. We are logging into Docker using Docker username and password. Once we are logged in, we are building and pushing the images of application and database. The Postgres image is being built. The image is built with the command docker build. Once the image is created, it gets pushed to the Docker hub. The database is successfully created. The DB image is successfully pushed to the cloud. The application is also pushed to the Docker hub. We are setting AKS for deployment. The deployment is done with the command kubectl apply, where we have deployment files. We have a deployment file for our application and database. We can check the deployment in our command. To check, we are running kubectl get pods. As we can see, our application is successfully created and deployed. We can get these services with kubectl get services. As we can see, we have an external IP from which we can access our application. So the app is successfully deployed to Azure. The build is successfully complete. It also sends a message to the Discord on the status of the build. In Docker, we can check the images created in the Docker hub.